Alright, little lab tour. Said I'd do it. So, why not? Alright, so, walking down the stairs. Right over here is my actual lab. Got a few assorted things right here, but it's mainly just stuff that I need to possibly look through. I don't know yet, but I will warn I haven't been cleaning up too much with this stuff I need to sift through again, but you know. Alright, right here, I'll just go through equipment and other such things. Right here we have an old 1960s naval radio. I think it actually shows 1969 on there. Pretty cool little thing. This right here is a Crosley I'm modifying into a display stand, a rotating one. And then of course some storage for all sorts of things, with this being 99% isopropyl alcohol in both of these toner bottles. Good using bottles like this instead of this, because those spill everywhere. Though these may have a little bit of an issue sometimes with actually, dispensing sometimes, but it's never as bad as that. I mean, whichever one's cheaper though, and gets you, able to create. And of course this entire section is mainly for storage. As even seen down here, with the parts tray that's made of an old TV. And of course, this right here, which is an old decibel meter. I gotta look into this a little further, but, And then of course, sorry about that. A good old CRT TV I'm gonna turn into an oscilloscope. That's where I messed up right there, I do apologize. And now going over here, the table itself. Same table that was seen in, of course, Project Signal Tower. A few modifications have been made though, such as this. This, right here, this button activates this all the way up here, this ventilation system. Light goes red, all's good. Yep. And then of course you got this area, which is not in the best shape. I still need to work on this. Long story short, it ends up that there is an issue with just trying to find time for this. I've been busy, but yeah, should have a bunch of test equipment when done. So, you got a few other things over here, a wire box. This system right here, which I forgot to shut down, so I'll just do that. Whenever these lights go off, it's on the same circuit. So whenever I shut down the lights to leave, everything down here gets shut off. Except for, of course, things like this, because that is more of a necessity. But all of this is tied directly into the lighting system, so definitely not too bad. Then, of course, got the final area. Not exactly my lab per se, but I'd like to go and place some stuff from the lab in there. And that is the crawl space. Goes pretty far back. And of course I got a telephone right there, a little payphone. I'd like to look into doing something with that. If I ever make my own business or whatever, I'm hanging that up. That'll be good. But yeah, I mean, it's basically just this. I'm working out of an old, dusty, dingy basement, doing what I can. The only real positive is, as you see with that, if I have any solder fall, it's not as much of an issue. Because, I mean, entire ground is made of a set stone. Very porous one at that. which is good because, well, it gets damp down here. Reason why I don't store tape stuff. I mean, I do have a tape cleaner at least, so I can look into doing stuff with that, but, you know. And of course you have more of, well, my father's stuff. More of my dad's stuff and things like that. We actually thrifted this from a YMCA nearby. They had their rummage sale. Yep. Definitely a nice thing. Maybe I'll be able to reuse that sometime, but in this near future, I doubt it. I mean, it's got most of my dad's equipment on top of it. Subs and all sorts of things. The coils, the actual amps themselves, all those things. So, I mean, I doubt I'm going to be able to do much with this area yet. But when I get the chance, and when I figure things out, my plan is to try to reuse this space. We'll see how that goes, though. I think I'll mainly be having stuff go back into there. Mainly just taking stuff out of containers and such and moving it over, but we'll figure it out. Then, of course, we'll go along the last two things, which is mainly this right here, which is a parts container, some storage and such. Tools, extra tools, parts. Maybe I'll get into some of those parts a different time. I got some pretty interesting ones. Then, of course, you got all these sorts of, well, most folks call them speakers. I've kind of grown up going and calling them voice coils myself, but, yeah. So you have these voice coils right here, more of them, and then all the way down here is something called a diode assembly tester. That is an old, retired piece of equipment that was gifted to me. Maybe we'll look into that a different time. But, yeah. And then over here, this is more my dad's work area, his workbench. It's got this nice little motorcycle saddle. And, yeah, let's see. That right there is a really nice piece of kit. Just a German speaker for a home theater set. Thing thumps way more than the old ones that were all the way over there in that box. So, it's all been replaced by that. Then, of course, you have right down here an old dehumidifier control box that was rotting away in a corner. There's certain things that I just sort of claim, you know, just from e-waste, just so I can go and, you know, work on more stuff. All this right here, this and that container all the way back there, I don't think you'll be able to see it because I would need to work on the actual exposure of the thing. But there are two things of coax cable. Pretty good. It's enough to, you know, last me practically a lifetime. Maybe if I figure out what to do with some of these parts, I'll, you know, I'll share some of my stuff. Then, of course, you got a little extra thing here. Let's see. That, of course, is upstairs, though. I have no real clue if I shall, you know, if it'd be a good idea to get into that at the moment, because, well, I mean, it is really late at this moment. I mean, between that and, that, I probably shouldn't be doing more in this basement. At least not right now. It gets worse the longer I'm down here. was that? Should probably. What is? I think it's just me, but I hear rustling. I always had this. I don't feel welcome down here. Come on. You know what? I already know it's in my head. It's all good. I know. One hell of a way of ending it, but hey. I'm actually surprised I didn't see him sooner. So, yeah. Well, thanks for watching, I do suppose. I don't care if you subscribe or don't or do whatever. Hell, I'm half doing this only for myself. You know what? As a treat for staying here for so long, Project Curiosity. Something random that I have created because I was kind of bored and had the materials. Come on. There we go. It's this long antenna. I added a coil in parallel right here. It goes through this yellow wire all the way over into this potentiometer and then into this amplifier, into this DTV box over here, and then out to here. In theory, I should be able to get some form of signal, but I doubt it. I'll figure out things as they go. In fact, I don't even think this thing works that well, but it was a test. I was bored. Recently got a game called Voices of the Void, and I was kind of testing that out because I've always enjoyed all of those things with the signals. I'll figure out where that goes. Hey, if you'd like to go and see me really mess with signals, there's an old live stream called Glitchin'. It's got a bunch of those effects. I'm using an effect module that I custom created. Be called in that niche a dirty video mixer. Look at that. If you stay here, just watch some of the videos, you might get introduced to something new. Who'd have known? Well, I suppose I better end it now. There's nothing more to get into, so yeah. Well, it's been good. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.